Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey, order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now, and please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live, like now, post a new video. Before we get into tonight's show, just like you to know that I am the author of Asexual Perspectives, which is out on Amazon. And this talks about love, life, sex, and relationships from an asexual point of view. I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help. Oh, yes, they're both on Amazon. And cracking on with today's show, then, why does dating feel so brutal to sex-repulsed asexuals? So if you're new to my channel, I'm asexual. I lack sexual attraction. Hello, 100% beef. Lots of love to you. I haven't seen you for ages. Nice to see you here. So I lack sexual attraction. I'm personally sex repulsed for me. I'm not sex repulsed for others. If other sex, they want it, need it, enjoy it, and it's consensual, I'm fine with that. But personally for me, I hate it. You know, I really hate sex. I really loathe it. The more if I talk about it on this channel, I feel okay about it. But when I'm literally in the middle of dating and it's heterosexuals and they really want sex and they're just sex mad, it feels so brutal. Do you know what I mean? It feels absolutely horrible. I hate it. You know what I mean? I'm getting really fed up now of being on Facebook dating, talking to heterosexual guys who are clearly just looking to hook up for sex, even though I put in my profile clearly I don't want sex. I had another 21-year-old Indian guy on Facebook dating today ask me to meet up, and he doesn't even know me. And I'm like, you know, no, I'm not looking for a hookup, you know? I'm asexual and I hate sex. I'm not looking for a hookup. It's like, well, yeah, I do love kissing, but I've already explained in the previous video when I kissed the other 21-year-old Indian guy, I absolutely loved it. He aesthetically was really my type, really aesthetically attractive to me. But I actually really want a relationship. And, you know, if you have like real high passion, I like passionate kissing, okay, even though I'm asexual. But if you have passionate kissing that's really romantic, you've got an emotional connection and proper love there, that's going to be far more better than just meeting up, hooking up for kissing or whatever they want to do or think they want to do, which they're not going to do. You know, thanks for understanding, 100% beef. And so, you know, I just find it brutal, you know. I find it brutal, the fact that all they're geared towards is not really much talking and just sex. There's one nice person so far I'm talking to on Facebook dating that I'm carrying on talking to currently. I think he likes me as a friend, but maybe a little bit romantically. But he's not looking, I asked him and he's not looking for dating or relationship anyway. I've been on dates for coffee with no sexual agenda with a woman just to know the lady better. Yes, well, that's good. That's really good. But unfortunately, the guy, the 21-year-old that I absolutely love kissing the other day, he's no good for me to get into a relationship with. And he wanted to see me again, but only on the basis that it was a kissing hookup, basically, relationship. It wasn't a relationship, it was a kissing hookup until he found a girlfriend, which is really not nice. So I enjoyed the date with him. It was fantastic. But after that, I was like, no, I'm not going to be used like that, you know? So that was kind of like not good after that, you know? So, but the actual, you know, I enjoyed the actual time I spent with him, kissing him, because it was like a dream come true for me to be able to do that. But I really like want to be with a guy who actually wants a relationship. I do make it clear in my profile, by the way, on Facebook dating that I am looking for a serious relationship, you know? But I think they just pay no attention to that. They seem to pay no attention to the fact that I don't want sex, no attention to the fact that I'm, you know, that I'm asexual. And it's just ridiculous. And it just feels so brutal. It's like all they're interested in is sex. I'm in a Indian dating group as well, and I get a lot of Indian guys constantly in my inbox from there. Sorry, I think I've got flyaway hair tonight. And, you know, it's nice that I've got loads of Indian guys in my inbox, but some of them are in relationships. One the other day was engaged. I just delete their, you know, remove their friends request. Like, I'm not even bothering with open relationships, guys that are in relationships, guys that are married, guys that are engaged. I think, what the hell are you doing? Why are you trying to show interest in dating me when you're with someone. I just feel it's horrible and disgusting, you know. I really hate that type of guy, and it seems like there's a majority of guys that are like that, which is sad. It's really, really sad. And it just feels like so like clinical the way they go about the dating. A lot of them, it's like, don't talk very much because they don't want to obviously get an emotional connection with the girl. Don't say much about yourself because they want to be secretive because they don't really want a relationship with you. And it's kind of like, you know, they're not really interested in you. 100% beef. I'm done with relationships too. Oh, bless you. It's really, really difficult, isn't it? There's a lot of people in the world that, you know, I'm sad to say, but it feels there's a lot of people that are just like, you know, lying, cheating, having affairs, like just having such artificial and fake love. Well, it isn't even love, you know, just artificial fake stuff. And it just feels horrible. It feels so clinical and like, where is the actual love in the world? Come on, people. I know it's there somewhere. Where are the guys that actually want a genuine relationship, that actually want love, that actually want to work as a team on a proper relationship? There just doesn't seem to be those guys around, or not that I can find in this country, sadly. There is a asexual guy who has admitted he's got feelings for me, who's been on my friends list for a little while now. And I said to him, I think you like me more than a friend, because he made it pretty obvious. And he said, yeah, that's true. But he lives in a completely different country. And his career is going to take him to not the UK where I am, but a completely another country to me. So there's no way I could get into a relationship with him anyway. So it's pointless, that, really. Do you know what I mean? He actually is really good looking as well, aesthetically, although he has some facial hair, which I don't really like facial hair. But yeah, and he's slightly younger than birth certificate age. I would usually go for 20 rather than 21. I think he said it's going to be 21 later this year. So, but you know, like, he's admitted he's got feelings and he is asexual. But you know, it's like, what's the point? Because like, you know, like, it's good I know that he's honest, but it's kind of like you can't do anything with that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, he's in another country and I don't want to move countries. I love the UK and I love specifically my flat I live in. The guy I'm talking to on Facebook dating, who's a nice person to talk to, he was asking me why I like to live alone. And, you know, for me personally, I need to live alone because I have fibromyalgia and I can't, you know, I don't want to do housework for a guy, cooking, cleaning, or anything like that, because to stand up just to do the washing up hurts me, quite frankly. And so I don't do it all at once. I usually leave it for a few days, which is kind of gross if you live with someone. But if you live on your own, it's kind of like fine. And, you know, and I buy paper plates and stuff like that just to help me so I have less washing up. And I need a lot of space in bed, physical space, because I've got fibromyalgia, because I can't have anyone touching my pressure points. And, you know, I'm not used to sleeping in front of someone. I don't really sleep well in front of other people. I get really self-conscious. And I can't sleep usually till the early hours of the morning. Ideal time for me to go to sleep is 4 a.m. or at the latest 2 a.m. And otherwise I have continual nightmares. I've had it since a kid. I think it's because I had a forceps birth, so I was born into trauma. And that's what my mum thinks. So I don't really talk about this on my channel, but I have, you know, like the other day, like a couple of days recently, I have been getting up really early to do video editing work. And a couple of those days I've been like falling asleep really early, like midnight or half past midnight or 1. That's really early. And then the nightmares just come back again. So it's just like something I have to deal with. But usually if I go to sleep later, I don't get, well, especially at 4 a.m, I don't get them usually. You know, but it means sleeping later. And then part of the day was obviously gone. But you know, so I've been being more productive because I've been getting up earlier. But you know, then I've got these rubbish things going on in my mind before I wake up, so I have to get myself into a better state. So it's kind of difficult, you know. And I've got anxiety as well, and for my disabilities I find it a lot easier to live on my own, you know. Like I can't, like, a guy's not going to want to live with me when he's not going to be able to get any sleep, because I'm going to be up till 4 a.m. and I'm going to be playing music and I'm going to be jumping around, and you know, like, I'm alive at night, you know. I live like backwards life. And I love living like a teenager and love it. 100% beef. Thank you for understanding me. and because I've got anxiety, like I get anxious over toilet rolls, which is a really weird thing, but because I live on my own, I know how to manage it. And so it's like I've got to have X amount of toilet rolls in, because if I run out of toilet rolls, that would just be a complete nightmare for me and really tragic problem for me. And that might seem really weird to a lot of people, but I can't be doing with it. I can't be doing with these little worries in life. I need to eliminate as many worries as possible by living on my own, taking care of myself, paying my own bills, paying my own food, being a self-contained unit. I don't have another person to worry about. Even if in a relationship I get relationship anxiety or potential relationship anxiety, because I'm having to think and worry about another person more. But if you added living with them into the mix, it would just be too overwhelming these days for me. I've lived on my own for so many years. I just don't want that again. My ideal scenario is a guy would live really close to me, around the corner from me, but not with me. So he could go back to his place to sleep and, get some rest and sleep normal hours that he might need for his normal job or whatever he wants to do. And if he wants to watch sport or anything like that, you understand 100% beef what I'm talking about. Yes, exactly. It's just so much better to have separate places. My romantic side, 100%. Thank you. Lots of love to you. Like my romantic, you agree? It's good, isn't it? Yeah, my romantic side would like him to be with me, as in I have this strong romantic side. Oh, I just want him to stay with me in like, the ideal fairy tale world, in the romantic bit. But the actual practicality of it is no good for me, because it's just like a nightmare. I just cannot sleep next to someone and stuff. So, that's obviously a big thing with dating, is a lot of people want a relationship where you live together. Even a lot of asexuals I meet want a relationship where you live together. I'm hugely romantic, a hyper romantic, but I think it's better for me not to live with someone. Also, like when you're financially reliant on someone else, it's not a good thing, in my opinion. It's a really bad thing. I've been in that situation before and I couldn't get out of it. I don't want that again. I specifically love my flat and it's single occupancy only, So I find the whole dating scene, like, obviously it's very weird, because most people who date want a traditional relationship. They want sex, marriage, kids. They want the conventional, like, go to work, do a 9-to-5 job, come home, watch TV, go to bed. And I'm just not that type of girl. I just get bored with that type of life. It's miserable life for me. I'd rather be doing vlogging, like YouTubing, blogging, writing books that change lives, helping people in the world, making a difference, not just watching TV, wasting my life away, because this is how I personally feel. 100% B feels the same, and it's like, if you've got different interests to your partner, that's great, but it's better to have them separately some of the time, experience them. So if a guy likes sport, I hate sport, right? Personally, I don't like sport at all. So if he likes sport, that's great for him, very healthy, but then he can go back to watch it at his place and enjoy that. I don't want to be sat there like a lemon, wasting my life away, just looking at something that I hate and not interested in. That's boring and a waste of my life. If you live in separate places, you can both do your own thing and enjoy the moment with yourself or your friends. And you can also have the best of being together as well, when it really matters, and when you're enjoying yourself together and doing things that are shared interests that you both enjoy, Makes so much sense now. Oh, thank you, 100% beef. Lots of love to you. So, this is my kind of ideal relationship. But, when you're going among heterosexuals, they don't even understand the concept of love without sex. And, and they don't understand romance without sex. Like, one of the Indian guys in the Indian dating group I'm in, he was saying to me, it's really rude of him, actually. He said to me, oh, do you know what romance is? And he put a question mark. I thought that's so rude. I'm like, well, yes, I do know of course I know what romance is. I'm a hyper romantic. I thought clearly I said, do you know what the difference, do you know how to love? Do you know how to have romance without love? Or do you know how to love without having sex, And so, I just find it very brutal. I find it very harsh. I even find the whole, like, have sex thing harsh these days. I know I've had sex in the past and I'm sex positive for other people, sex, like, repulsed for myself, and I can talk about it and stuff. And I understand it and I know how to be good at it and do it really well. But, when I'm actually on the heterosexual dating scene, it just feels so sickening. And it just feels really, really nauseating for me personally. And I'm just like, is that all you think about? Do you not want a deep emotional connection? Do you not want true love? Do you not want someone who'll just love your heart and soul and personality and who'll want to spend time with you because they genuinely care and love you? Do you not want that type of love? I like the sweet, innocent teenager style love without all that sex adult rubbish, that's why I personally feel, and I know I'm writing the Asexual Guide to Sex book, so it's a bit contradictory in that sense, you could argue, but I'm not sex repulsed for other people, but just for me personally, and actually talking to heterosexuals makes me feel sick. When I talk on this channel about sex, I don't really have a problem with it because it's educational. I'm talking about matter of fact, but and I know that I can feel asexual love is there, but when I'm in a heterosexual dating group on the Facebook dating app, it's so clinical and so constructed towards sex. It just makes me want to vomit. Yes, 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 and not someone sleeping around meanwhile. Yeah, exactly, and that's the danger with heterosexuals. To be honest, I don't really want a heterosexual guy. I really want an asexual guy who is my ideal type aesthetically and romantically, who has good conversation. With asexuals, you can actually have good conversations as well. Something that really I can't stand is I couldn't be with someone forever in my life unless they had a good conversation with me. If they can't talk properly and conversational and actually speak and have decent, intelligent conversations, I'm just going to get bored with that because, I'm not focused on the body, It's like they're so focused on genitalia and they're so abstract from emotional connection. I'm just like, what the hell is going on with you? But, obviously us being 1% of the population, we think differently. We think outside the box where we really use a lot more of our brain than a lot of people do in the world. Like there's this thing where people say, only, a small percentage of the population use 10% of their brain. That's kind of what asexuals do because we are so different. We have this other part of our brain that just kind of sees things in a whole different way to what the world sees. We know that love exists without sex. We know romance exists without sex. We know some people can love and be in a relationship without any romantic feelings whatsoever. And that's just as valid as people who have sex or people who have romance in relationships. We know that relationships are very different. Overall, they can be all different compared to what the formulaic heterosexual conditioning is like, where it's like sex, marriage, kids, job, have sex. Like usually I think sexuals mostly like sex at least 3 times a week, and it's just like, for me it's just like so clinical, so uncaring, so unfeeling, and I'm just like, I just want the deep, proper, loving, emotional connection. I want the guy who wants to be my best friend. I've got best friends, so my best friends will never be replaced. And don't think I'm desperate to get a best friend because I haven't got one, because I have got 3 best friends and some other really good friends. So I don't need another best friend in that sense. But I always believe that the person you end up in a relationship with should be automatically your best friend. You want to have a best friendship with them. So I'm looking for another best friend, but of a romantic nature, because my other friends aren't romantic with me, obviously. I've strict boundaries over that. So, I want the deepest soulmate, bestest ever friendship. I want a guy to want pure love from the heart, and that, that is what he's after. I just don't see how I'm going to get that from a heterosexual guy, because it's just like genitalia gets in the way, sexual urges get in the way, their dick, excuse my language, seems to be on their brain, and everywhere else as well. I'm like, please go away. And so I'm like, where is the true poetic love, if you like? Where's the real romance? Where's the real intellectual stimulation conversation? Where's the bestest ever friendship? Where's the actual natural caring and committed to that person because you value that person and their worth, And I just feel that they don't. The heterosexual dating scene, most of them don't value the person's worth. They're just looking to hook up for sex. They're very kind of bored and got nothing better to do with the time a lot of the time. And so they're just like, well, I'll chat to this girl. Hopefully I'll get sex out of her. And then, on to the next one or whatever, have some drink, fun times, and that's it. It's like, do you not want something real? Do you not want to feel the deep emotional connection and feel alive? Because when you have pure love and deep emotional connection, it makes you feel incredibly alive. makes you feel wonderful. But I can't be with a guy I can't emotionally connect to, because that's just like a disconnect. It's just like a void, and it just feels so weird and strange. It feels like you've got a sink that needs to be filled up with water, but you can't. So it's just like void of nothing, and it's got a big surround, which is harsh, if you know what I mean. I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels really, really weird. And like, you know, something is definitely missing, and it's just, I just don't like it, you know. And I'm thinking it's really difficult, you know. I just want the right asexual guy to turn up, but I guess it's not the right time for him yet. I guess it'll happen later, you know. There was a nice guy I met on Facebook dating as well, who was Indian, and I got on really well with him. I had like a soulmate connection with him, and he really wasn't obsessed with sex, and he actually gave me a lecture about like there's more to a relationship than sex, you know. It's really funny, but sadly he had to go from my life. He unfriended me, which is fine, because he wants to go back to India, and he believes it's good for his mum to arrange him a marriage, and so, you know, that wasn't going to go anywhere, so we parted ways. It's sad because I had a really strong emotional connection with him, and he knows that as well. We had like a soulmate emotional connection thing going on. So, you know, but I was crying all the time because I'm like, you know, like he said, I want to be with you, but I can't because I'm going back to India and having an arranged marriage, you know. That's really sad. But anyway, clearly he's not the actual ultimate soulmate for me if he's like that, you know. Because a soulmate will choose you, you know. The whole point of a soulmate is they choose to be with you. And like I've been posting recently, like posts on this channel, you know, it's not about someone having no other options but you, and they just like, oh, you're my only option, so I'll be with you, or because they're bored, or, you know, because you get a lot of guys like that on Facebook dating. You know, like I can tell, like even some of them say, oh, you know, I haven't got many options. It's like, well, I don't want to be one of those people where you haven't got many options. I'd rather a guy, you know, like choose me because I'm the only option for him, because he voluntarily knows that I'm right for him. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just like, well, you're just having me because you can't get anyone else. Like, and when another woman comes along that does pique your interest, that is into you, you're just gonna let go with her, aren't you? Because at the end of the day, if I'm not your actual chosen option, if I'm just an option amongst a load of people, or I'm the only option you've got, then 3 months later, 6 months later, you get this woman and she's interested in you and paying you attention, you're just going to go off with someone else. Because that, you know, because I'm so used to guys in my inbox, I'm so used to loads of guys finding me attractive and wanting to be in a relationship. Well, not really wanting to be in a relationship, wanting to have sex with me, is quite frank with you. The majority of them, then I can say, you know, I'm always saying no. I'm blocking guys, I'm turning them down. I have to block a lot of guys because a lot of them come in my inbox after sex. I had a 19-year-old earlier, and he was like, oh, hi, I love sex, like phone me. And he was trying to video call me, and it's like, I hate sex, bye, good luck finding someone else, you know. And so I have to deal with it all the time. But because I have got lots of options, if you like, although there's not really loads of options because these guys aren't what I'm after, then, you know, I'm used to saying no. But if you end up with a person who's not used to having attention, not used to having a lot of women around them, when they get loads of attention from women, they're more likely to not be able to say, look, I've got a girlfriend straight away, which they should be saying. And they're more likely to not be able to turn them down, especially if they're heterosexual, you know, and you were the only person available at the time. You know, I just don't trust them, to be perfectly honest with you. But even some asexual guys, you know, that are not experienced in relationships, you know, if they're very flirty asexual guys, which some of them are, again, if they get a lot of attention from a woman, then they're not used to it, then they'll be off with them, you know, and flirting in private message with them and stuff like that. I just hate it. It's disgusting. It's like, be in a relationship, be serious, or pursue someone seriously for a relationship, well, don't frigging bother, you know. And I'm absolutely shocked at the amount of people on Facebook dating that haven't even figured out what they want in a relationship. It's like, why the hell are you on there if you don't know what you want in dating relationships? You're on a dating and relationship app, predominantly. That's what it's used for. Yet you haven't even figured out what you want to do in dating relationships. You've got no relationship or dating goals. You don't know where the hell your life is tomorrow, let alone in a week or few months' time or years' time. how can anyone offer you a future and get into a relationship when they don't even know frigging one day to the next what the hell they're doing? Clearly they're not taking it seriously. And so it just feels so brutal, you know. It's like, where is the true love in the world like this? Where is the true romance, true love, true like devotion? That's what I want, utter devotion, you know, from a guy who's just like, you know, even I love it if I went clubbing with a guy and, you know, he's into older girls like me, and he's like, you know, and there's younger girls and they're like coming up to him, he's going, I've got a girlfriend, I'm not interested, got my girl, you know. That's the type of guy I need, a really strong guy. But a lot of the guys I'm finding, they're just so weak, you know, they're not strong. A lot of them are wanting secret relationships as well. I think it's because they're like an older girl in the fantasy. They really do like an older girl as well, but they don't want to. They want to make out to the world that you know that they're not like that, or they don't want to show that to the world, and it's ridiculous, you know. But if you like older women, like, don't be afraid to show it or say it. You know, I have told my parents for years that I'm going to be with a younger guy in his 20s. That's what I think I'm going to end up being with. And they're all prepped for that because they just know me. And I was honest, you know. Any guy who likes older women, he should be saying that to their family, you know, like, you know, in the future, mum, I'm going to be bringing an older girl back here, just so you know, you know, and that way they're already prepared for that. You know what I mean? I've prepared my parents for years for that, so they don't get a shock down the line. You know, if I'm with a 23-year-old Indian guy, they'll be like, oh, you know, great, because like, or yeah, that's Sandra, I'm used to her by now, you know, like they just expect it, you know, because I make it clear of what I'm like. You know, I'm not saying my parents totally agree with everything I do. They do not agree with PDA that I do and all that type of thing, and kissing guys I've not known long, but bless their hearts. But you know what I mean, they do understand why I need a younger guy though, because I am very young, and they're really in favor of that now. Like maybe not as young as I would go to. Like I think they think 23 and upwards would be good rather than 21. I personally think 23 and upwards would be good as well. You know, 25, that might be good as well. But yeah, but it's all about the person, you know, the maturity of the person as well, you know. And I just think, you know, I need to find a guy who's actually thought it through. Like, I would like a relationship. This is what I would like on a day-to-day basis. This is what the relationship would look like. And, you know, this is how I hope to progress with the person. Because if you don't have relationship goals, if you don't have dating goals, then it just ends up going nowhere. You end up getting the wrong type of person. You end up like being attached when maybe that person's not even right for you in the first place. And it's just all a mess. But I just find the whole dating scene really, really brutal if you're a sex repulsed asexual, because it's just so geared towards sex, and it just makes me want to throw up. I'm like, please, I'm not interested in your genitalia. I feel like saying, will you just cut it off for now? Because I'm really not interested in it. Just cut it off, forget about it, and think about what you really love and like in a relationship and romance with love without your genitalia. Just imagine if you didn't have that genitalia. Just imagine for an instance that it was cut off, you had no genitalia there, and you just had to go and find someone that you love, that you could spend the rest of your life with because you've got a deep emotional connection with them. You've got bestest ever friendship. You like the way they look, if looks are important to you. And, you know, and you can see yourself being with that soul for the rest of your life. You know, that's what I want, you know. And I feel that when I'm talking to other sex repulsed asexuals, other sex repulsed asexual guys, for example, it feels much more safer. I just know that they're not interested in doing stuff with their genitalia. I know that I don't have that to worry about. I know that, you know, it's much more kind of cuddly and cute and fluffy, which I like. It's just a much more kind of nicer, warmer feeling, a feeling of a lot more deep emotional connection, a lot more nice talk, a lot more chatting about things, being intellectual, being creative together. You know, it just feels so different. Like, if I compare, like, obviously, like, I was out of the heterosexual dating scene for quite a while, for some, you know, like being on dating sites anyway, in dating groups, dating apps, you know, and like to go back to that and contrast it with talking to asexuals, it's like, it is honestly like two completely different worlds. It's like you've got the heterosexual world. This is how it feels to me. That's very clinical, very geared towards genitalia, sex, and not real connections, and it just feels so icky and yucky. Then you've got the asexuals, which is so comfortable to be around. It's like being your comfy armchair, and it just feels so good, and you don't have to worry about them having affairs if they are asexual who doesn't need or want or like sex, which most of them are. Not everyone. I've met some grey asexuals who still want sex, but yes, they specifically want a relationship with sex in it, so there you go. And obviously demisexuals, usually a lot of them want sex, which is on the grey asexual spectrum. But if we take like the heteromantics, for example, the guy heteromantics, like romantically attracted to the opposite gender, then usually I feel like much more safer, comfortable around them in general, much more nicer. It's just like much more better atmosphere. It's just much more better feeling. It's like, you've got the security of knowing that they're not going to be jumping in other women's pants and after women's genitals, and they're not going to be looking to hook up. They're going to be looking to chat to you and to get to know your personality and to connect with you on a very intellectual level, a very hobbies and interest level, a very best kind of good friend type of level, an actual really comfortable level, and it kind of with heterosexuals it feels kind of a bit dangerous, which I guess might be a little bit exciting for a while, but it's not really. It's just stupid chemicals, but it feels like dangerous in a bad way, like very anxiety inducing really. And it's like you can't, there's always going to be that like, oh, they might go off with someone else. I just don't like that. Nicole Bowers, I get a lot of anxiety about dating because there's a lot of guys who seem to take my asexuality as a challenge almost. So just going on a date is hard because I worry that they'll have expectation that I can't or won't meet. Yes. Nicole, I know exactly how you feel. The guys that I'm talking to on Facebook dating, they're just like, I don't think they think I'm really asexual. It seems like they completely ignore what I talk about, the fact I hate sex, and they're just looking for hookups, and it is very anxiety inducing. I have a generalized anxiety disorder condition, and I find like relationships as well and potential relationships really anxiety inducing. Even if I was with an asexual guy, I would still feel that way, but not as bad. If it was a good guy, because I still have some anxiety anyway. But dating heterosexuals is really difficult. So I completely understand how you feel, and yeah, it's not our problem if they don't believe us, but it becomes our problem if they try to do stuff and keep talking about stuff that we don't want to do. Like even the 21-year-old the other day that I did kiss, he was asking, he didn't push or anything like that to do it, but he asked me a couple of times, like, do I want to do oral sex? And it's like, one, I'm not interested in doing that anyway. And two, if I would only do it in a serious committed relationship, not just on a frigging date. Do you know what I mean? It's just like ridiculous. And the questions he was asking me, I thought he was asking me to do with the relationship. A lot of the time, it seemed like he was asking to do them just dating. And it's like, I don't want to do that sexual stuff. And even if I did or was willing or able to do some of that stuff, it would certainly not be in a dating scenario. It'd be in a serious committed relationship. But I'm not interested in that anyway. I used to be okay with touching years ago, and I don't know if I'd ever feel okay to touch a bit more than I do now, which is basically zilch. But in general, I don't want to do that again, and I always say no, I don't like it, because I'm really repulsed at the moment, especially by that, and I don't like any types of sex. I can't see me changing on that. But yeah. Ugh. But yeah, so I really feel for you. It's really, really difficult, and I think it's very, very brutal because of their expectations, isn't it? And they shouldn't be expecting sex. They shouldn't even be expecting sex from heterosexual girls, let alone people who are not who are asexual. You shouldn't be expecting like that from anyone. Like the guy the other day, like who wanted to see me again for just kissing hookups. He wanted to come to my flat. It's like, there's no way I'm going to have a stranger guy in my flat, however aesthetically good looking he is, however much I like kissing him. I'm not going to have a guy back to my flat like that. I mean, it's so dangerous. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that I would have got hurt, but I would have got hurt emotionally by him if I'd carried on seeing him. And but I mean, physically I don't think he was going to hurt me like that. But it's not the point, you know. He'll probably want me to do more and more stuff, which is what he was already saying. It's just not on. Nicole, I just want to get to know someone, but it can be really difficult. Yeah, it's really difficult because I was explaining that, you know, a lot of heterosexuals, for me, it's very clinical when you talk to them. Like, there's not much emotional connection there. And we've got to be really careful because, you know, guys who would just want to know about us and who don't say much about themselves, that's not a good guy. That's not someone who's really interested in being with us in a relationship. It's a guy that's just keeping all his cards to his chest, chatting to a load of other women, and just not really prepared to share his life and world with us in a relationship. It's just they just into dating and hookups. And I really understand you totally, you know, because it is really difficult. You know, it's really, really, really hard, and it can feel so dehumanizing as well, I think. You know, like, you feel like you're a piece of meat sometimes, and you feel like, you know, they just don't understand you or who you are as a person. It's just really horrible. My food's in the oven. It means I've either got to go or turn it down. I'm going to leave my stream for 1 minute and turn my oven down. I'll be back in a minute. I don't usually do this, but I can't burn it. I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to go and turn my oven down because I don't want it burning. My food's in the oven. It's like gone midnight. It's like 19 minutes past midnight. So yeah, you can tell this is live, can't you? I just get up and leave in the middle of a stream, but you have my cuddly toys to look at, so it's fine. But yes, I understand what you're saying, Nicole. You know, yeah, that's hard. I feel like the older that I get, the more difficult it gets to even try dating. I don't really have the problem with the older I get as such. Yeah, because I'm really young, and I, you know, for me, it's not an age thing. For me, it's like I want something real and they don't. So I guess in terms of age or being older, I guess I probably want something. I don't know. I've always been into serious relationships though. So I don't think it is an age thing for me. I just think that I want different things to a lot of what they want. You know, I want an actual relationship, whereas a lot of them don't. So when I had a really serious relationship when I was 17 years old. I was in a relationship from the ages of 17 in birth certificate age. I was in a relationship for like nearly 7 years. And so I've always been like, when I was younger in birth certificate age, was really, really adult and old for my age. I'm younger now. And so, you know, I've always taken relationships seriously. I've always wanted a real relationship, if you know what I mean, even as a teenager. But you know, I know how it is, because obviously as you do get older, you are a bit more experienced, and you're kind of like, it's like a broken record. Maybe, Nicole, do you feel like that? It's like a broken record that, you know, it's like, oh God, we're doing the same thing over and over again, and you just kind of try and hope that you can find someone different, someone who actually genuinely wants a proper, real soul relationship. I find anyway, you know, because that's what I want. I just can't be doing with all this genitalia focus and, you know, not having a proper connection with someone. You know, I know it's very difficult because people get vulnerable with relationships, but I would rather have some guy who's willing to be vulnerable with me than some guy who just wants me for genitalia. Not older as my age, but I guess I should say the more time goes by with these same types of guys and the same issues with dating, it gets harder. Yes, I agree with you, Nicole. Yeah, I think that's hit the nail on the head. The more as time goes by, the same types of guys and the same issues with dating, yeah, it gets harder, because you do feel like you're going around on a hamster wheel, don't you? I feel that sometimes you're just literally going on a hamster wheel, coming off and going back on again. And it's like, please, they've got to be some, like a broken record. Yeah, that's what I was saying, isn't it? It's really like a broken record. And it just feels so horrible. It's like, are we going to just keep doing this over and over again? It feels very like artificial. Do you feel like it's artificial? I feel like it's really artificial. And it's like, you know, do you not want something real? Do you not want to feel real love, real passion, you know, as in passion, just even talking about your favorite topics? passion as in just stroking the person's hair. You know, like romance, and you know, I just feel tired. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I've got a bit fed up with Facebook dating, to say the least. There's one guy I'm still talking to on there, so you know, but I probably might, you know, like you can put it on take a break so that you don't have any new people talking to you if you want. But it's like, because they give you compliments on there now, there's like getting reviews. So it's kind of like I don't want to go off there again. And plus, I'm still talking to one guy who's a nice person. I don't think anything will come of it relationship wise, because I've asked him and he's not even thinking about dating relationships. He hasn't really thought about that, which is, it's like, how can you not think about that when you're dating a relationship app? But never mind. But he's using it to get experience, I guess, of talking to women online. But yeah, like, is this all there is? Yeah, that's why it feels so brutal. Going back to talking about this again on the hamster wheel, it just feels so brutal. It's like, has no one got anything different to offer on the table? Like, I really wish I could just find the right asexual guy for me, because I just think it'd be so much better than dating heterosexuals. I just find the conversation with asexuals much better. I find it much more interesting. I find being around them much more comfortable in general. I find it, you know, like you can like just relax. What happened to holding hands? I know, right? What did happen to holding hands? And not only that, holding hands is really important for me. Like a lot of the guys I'm talking to, they don't even want to hold hands. And I'm really public display of affection girl. I mean, I'm more public display of affection than most people in the whole world, probably. And it's like the guy the other day, he was kissing me for a long time in public, but yet holding my hand was uncomfortable, a bit of a problem for him, which obviously we're not seeing each other again. But you know what I mean? It's like, for me, holding hands is like electric. It's like beautiful music. It's so, like, I like to be connected to the guy I'm with, like physically, a lot of the time if I'm in a relationship or even dating scenario. Otherwise, I may as well stay single. Guys are trying to get into your pants before they even hold your hand. Yes, I agree with that. But yes, I totally agree with that. Yeah. But for me, a lot of the guys, because, you know, they don't even, you know, I need a guy who's proud to be with an older girl in public, basically. And a lot of the guys that I'm coming across, I'm like their fantasy, and they want me in secret. It's like, come on, people. Geez, you can't, you know, like, so clearly they're not really looking for a relationship. You know, but yes. And yeah, and they are trying to push things and go completely fast. Like I said, I had a guy a few hours ago, and like, well, several hours ago probably now, and he was asking me like to meet up, and it's like, I don't even know anything about him. Oh, I know what music he likes. I think that's it. Or movies. That's about it. Movies, I think that was it. You know, and it's just like, it's amazing. I love holding hands and people don't get it. Yeah, I'm like the same as you, Nicole. It's so good to talk to you, someone who can relate, who I can relate to. I love holding hands. To me, it feels like electric. And if I'm holding my hands with my favorite guy in a relationship, it just feels like, I don't, it might sound a bit repulsive to say making love with the fingers. It might sound a bit repulsive if you're sex repulsed and you hate the words making love. It might sound gross, but I kind of feel it's that way a little bit, if you know what I mean. You know, and but I feel like, put it another way, I feel like it's electric. I feel like I'm connected to my person physically, but I like holding hands even around a supermarket. That's how public display of affection person I am. I'm very sensual. That's a good thing I've learned about myself. That's one thing good about dating recently. I've learned quite a lot about myself from the one last date I had, which has been really, really good. Probably the two last dates I've had, actually. And, you know, I realised I'm a very sensual person. And that's why I need a lot of physical contact, like public displays of affection, as well, as because I like to be physically connected to the person, but not in a genitalia way. I want to hold your hand, I want to stroke your arm, I want to snuggle into you, I want to cuddle you, I want to kiss you, I want to stroke your hair, I want to feel like physically close to you all the time. You know, I know what you mean. Oh, thank you, Nicole. It's so good to talk to you. Because you feel like you're alone, don't you, if no one can relate to you? You feel like, oh, am I just like, because even the asexual realm that I'm in, a lot of asexuals are not, I don't find her as into affection as I am in the big way. But even if I'm going around a supermarket, I like even holding the basket together, hand in hand, like hands intertwined around the basket, because I'm a hyper romantic as well. I find super romantic, super exciting, and really like connected to the person. This is how much I like public displays of affection. I can't have a relationship where I'm not kissing, cuddling, and holding hands in public. Nicole knows what I mean. Yeah, exactly. You know, because I personally, like, I had a relationship in the past. I don't miss the guy whatsoever, but I miss the public displays of affection I had with him. So when I was in this relationship with him, which was total for 8.5 years, we were always kissing and cuddling and holding hands wherever we went, like in the high street, on buses, on trains, waiting for theme park rides. Nicole's the same. Waiting, you know, going around aquariums and zoos, like we'd be looking at fish, then kissing, looking at fish, having a kiss, looking at and that made it so much more exciting, because I'm a person who likes doing stuff all the time as well. So if I'm like watching fish kissing, it's kind of like relax, kiss, relax and exciting. I guess that really kind of tantalizes the senses, because obviously if you're a sensual person, you kind of like a lot of the senses. So if you mix up the different variety of senses, so you're going from calm, relaxed fish to exciting kissing, it kind of, I guess it releases dopamine hits and stuff like that. Probably what sexuals like about sex, but I don't get that with sex. I get that through like kissing. And so, you know, I find that, you know, the different senses with the sensual attraction, I find it, you know, like the contrast, and kissing always makes me feel very excited, I guess. And I always love that. And if I can add, it's a bit like, you know, you cook and you add your favorite sauce. I don't, because I'm allergic to sauces and stuff. But if you add your favorite sauces or favorite herbs, it spices them up, doesn't it? It makes them feel like that much better. For me, that's like kissing. It's like I'm doing something, but I want those those kisses on top. I want the spices on top. I want to add the sauce to the situation to make it like more tasty and better for me. That's the only way I can describe it. And if you're into cake, I can't eat cake, but if you're into cake, it'd be like having you know, instead of just having the sponge, it would be like having layers of jam and cream on top, and your favorite hundreds and thousands, everything on there as well, all the little sweeties plopped on top. It'd be like, you know, like more and more excitement, and you'd have the layers of the sponge that you're enjoying at the moment, but you're enjoying it better because it's all these exciting little bits in it that add extra flavor to it. That's kind of how like kissing and public displays of affection feel to me whilst doing an activity with my favorite person, romantic person, you know. It kind of adds a lot more flavor, a lot more excitement. And, you know, I cannot be like, I feel like if I don't have public displays of affection, I feel like a caged animal. I feel like I'm some dirty little secret and a caged animal. And I like to be free in that way. But obviously I need a guy who's super into that like me, so that it doesn't feel like I'm trying to force him to do that or ask him to do something he's uncomfortable with. You know, it feels like natural. So he would like doing that as much as I did. I mean, I had no problem with my ex like that. I knew he loved that as much as me. He was instigating it the majority of the time, probably. But I think we were quite equal on enjoying it. Nicole, yes, kissing and holding hands stimulates my brain more than anything else. Ah, you get me. Yeah, that's like it is for me, really. And I do like cuddles as well, but I actually prefer kissing. But yeah. Like fireworks. Yes, it's like fireworks. You understand me perfectly well. Yes, it is like fireworks for me. Oh my God, there's finally someone who understands me. It's really nice you're here. Yeah, it's like fireworks. That's how it feels with kissing and holding hands. Even cuddling. It was really, really weird because the first guy I dated, who was in London, who was older than I would usually go for, I did actually get aroused stroking underneath his arm. I'm an asexual. I can experience arousal, but usually it's to do with kissing. Not always, I don't get that anymore, but sometimes. But I was sat in the restaurant with him and I was stroking under his arm because I didn't kiss him in the mouth because it was our first date. Although I kissed the other guy, the Indian guy, even though it's first date, but that was last time last and only time I'm probably going to see him. But yeah, I stroked on the guy's arm, and for some reason I got really aroused, and I'm like, oh God, I didn't expect that. Was weird. I've never had that before with anyone that I can ever remember, so I don't know what was going on there. I mean, he was older, but obviously I must have been super aesthetically attracted to him because I was cuddling into him in the restaurant, and I stroked his arm, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel aroused. What is that going on? And I still don't understand that. I don't think I've ever had that with a guy before doing that, so I don't know what was going on there. I'm like, is there some sort of weird connection or thing going on? Unfortunately, I had to stop seeing him because I hadn't been honest with me about some stuff, which is a shame because there was potential for huge relationship compatibility between me and him. But he's not asexual anyway, he's heterosexual. I prefer to be with an asexual guy. And he was only part Indian, not full Indian. But I did like, the time, but he was not honest with me and deceived me on some stuff. So yeah. There's something about gentle, casual touch. Oh, well, I don't. That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I don't touch people unless I don't touch people. How can I put it? Like I wouldn't go around touching my friends usually because I kind of have boundaries with that. With guys I'm dating, I actually genuinely care about the guys I'm dating. I have some feelings of attraction for them. I can't just date a guy for the hell of it. I can't just date a guy I have no attraction to whatsoever. So every guy I date or have dated, including the two recently, I've had some feelings for. I've cared about them as people. The older one I actually had some emotional connection with some. The younger one I didn't really have. I had some emotional attachment, not really emotional connection. And so it was, it's kind of weird, but I really prefer to be with an asexual guy. But obviously, like, it's so difficult, isn't it, when you're on the dating scene when you're asexual, because it's very difficult to find a compatible asexual person and someone that's in your country and like nearer you that you could, or at least travel to. I mean, in a relationship, like holding hands, stroking the other person's arm, that kind of thing. Oh, yes, Nicole. Yes, I love that. I so do. Yes. Thank you for explaining. Yes. So this guy I met in London, I wasn't actually in a relationship with, and he's older, but I was wanting to hold his. I said to him that I feel I should hold your hand. So I kind of like made the first move with that. And he seemed to enjoy that because he's smiling. I don't think he was totally used to it because he looked a little bit like, I'm not sure I want to hold this person's hand all the time. Probably not necessarily as much as I wanted to hold his. So I'm not sure he's used to that. Or I'm not sure 100%. I think he enjoyed it, but I'm not sure 100% he likes it as much as I do. I got the impression that maybe it was like a bit more than he would like. But I don't know. But he might just not be used to it. I'm not sure. And then, but yeah, like with him, I was actually like in the restaurant, I was cuddling into his arm and stuff and stroking his arm and stuff, which was really, really nice. But yeah, I have never got aroused stroking someone's arm before underneath their arm. It's really weird. I still don't understand that. Yeah, so hard to find asexual people. Yeah. Yeah, it's really difficult. Like, I have asexual friends. I do asexual meetups in my city, and I run 3 asexual dating groups on Facebook, and I still can't find the right asexual guy for me. I've been on asexuality.com since 2014 looking for my Indian, I believe I'm meant to be with an Indian guy, Indian asexual soulmate. I knew that through going on asexuality.com. That's how I found out that I'm into Indian guys, that I really connect with them usually the most. I got the most aesthetic attraction for them. I've got my most attractions for Indian guys. I feel like a soulmate connection. I feel like I've got a soulmate. I feel like I've got an asexual Indian soulmate somewhere in the world, but I haven't found him yet. It's really annoying. I thought I had last year, but this guy was in America and changed his mind about coming to UK, so that was that. And then there was another asexual guy I liked, more than liked, had really feelings for him, but I've been spending my time getting over him, so that was kind of hard. Who wasn't Indian, Tunisian, but yeah, so I've getting over that now, so that's good, which is why I can move on. And so, yeah, but it's so difficult to find asexuals like in the same country who you actually are compatible with. I find, you have to be as an asexual willing to move or travel at least, but it should be in your own country, really. You can't be going backwards and forwards to different countries all the time. And personally, I can't do a long distance relationship because I need physical touch. I'm a sensual person. I need kissing. I need cuddling. I need proper in-person stuff. That was what attracted me back to heterosexual dating, if you like, is because I wanted some real people to really meet up with, guys in my case, because I'm only attracted to guys, and I wanted proper dates. I wanted to properly experience the proper feelings and touch of someone, because I don't just want an online only relationship. I don't just want to date online. I've been dating online for years now. I want to meet up with real guys in real time, even though they might not be perfect, because I want to have those real experiences. But then you get a stumbling block where you just end up, they're all sexually charged and they're not really after a relationship. And I'm not in a busy area either, so I have to travel a bit far for meetups and such. Oh yeah. Well, usually people come to me for meetups, because I organise them in my city. I do like national meetups in my city, and it's a lot of miles they travel. But I mean, I think it's good that you really do that though, because like most people aren't prepared to travel. You have to be prepared to travel. Most of the time, there's not going to be the right guy on your doorstep, or person on your doorstep. Even if you're not asexual, you're still mostly likely going to find that you're going to have to maybe move, but you're more likely to move if you're asexual, or find a mover, And, I haven't found a guy who's willing and able to move yet to live near me, because where I live in my flat, I'm very settled here. It's very good for my writing. I really do enjoy it. If I wasn't living in next to my city, I would live in London. I know that, but it's too expensive for me to live there and move there. And also, the healthcare is not as good. So if I moved there, it would be very difficult for me to get good healthcare, and I have disabilities. So really, my own city's better. But I do love London. That's the only other place I would like to, like, if I had a relationship with a guy who didn't live anywhere near my city, I'd rather him live in London than anywhere else in the UK, because I love London. So if I go to see him, I'd be going to a place that I love, as well as seeing him. It would be it'd be a bonus, if you know what I mean. But if I'm going anywhere else, I'm not so interested in the place. It's kind of like a lot of money and a lot of traveling just for the person alone. But if I've got the person and the place, I don't know how to say it without sounding horrible. I do actually feel part of my future's in London. So I don't know if that means I'm meant to move to London, or just I'm meant to commute sometimes to London. Or it might be that the guy could have a place in London. I keep my place here, and then I commute and spend some time each week over in his place in London. If he has a spare bedroom, that possibly might work. But again, like, I'd still need a laptop. I'd still need my own space. I'd ideally need my own bathroom and stuff. So I don't know if that could ever happen. But it's an idea I had, like, because I don't want to move and live with someone. But if I really had to spend time with someone and I couldn't afford hotels all the time, then, which I can't, then and maybe I want to go for more than just a day trip. Maybe I want to spend some few days with the person. It'd be better if they had a spare room with a nice decent bed for my back that and an ensuite would be even better, but that's probably in my dreams. And that's like something that's out of my comfort zone anyway currently, but I would be like more feasible. But that's the only way I could see it working. So I'd have like my place here and go to their place up there, and because my place is not suitable for another occupancy. It's single occupancy only, and I only have a room. He can't go into another room and get some sleep. I'm literally would be in the same room with him, and I really can't sleep like that. So yeah, I just like, know that it's so hard trying to find the right asexual person. One is because we're very different on our needs. Like, asexuals are very different on physical needs, as we've discovered in this chat. Me and Nicole have actually quite a bit in common with the things we like. But usually it's very, very difficult. And obviously I'm into guys, and I think you're into guys as well, Nicole. So yeah. But it's good to be able to relate. And it just feels like with heterosexuals, it just feels so difficult. It's like it's easier because you've got more people to choose from, in the sense that there's loads more of that sexual orientation. But really, there's not much to choose from, or any at all, because they're all sexually driven. If you're sex repulsed asexual, then it's like there's no point in even pursuing a dating or relationship scenario unless you just want to go out on a date to experience a date, really, because it's like it's not the same. We're not looking for the same things. So it's very, feels very like how can I put it? It's like you kind of feel despondent to the whole thing. You kind of feel like indifferent, like kind of feel mere, and like, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be some people out there that can have love without sex, even if they're heterosexual. Surely they see the value in that, because obviously there's some people who are not asexual, but for example have disabilities and they can't have sex. So there's got to be some people with like hearts of gold out there that could actually like have a deep soul connection without the sex. But I think they're very few and far between. And, you know, I just think if you're a sex repulsed asexual, constantly having guys who want sex, want hookups, don't really want to get to know you as a person, like Nicole says, like want to get in your pants before they even held hands with you, and don't really value you as a person. I just think it just feels very brutal, very harsh. But the whole kind of like sex thing to me feels kind of brutal and harsh a lot of the time, personally, for me. Yeah, I like guys laugh out loud. I'm in the USA, about 3 hours from New York City, so I go there for asexual meetups sometimes. Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you go. And like for me to go to London, it takes 3.5 hours, and 3.5 hours back. So that when I went to London the other day, I did actually go to watch a 3D version of the new Doctor Strange. You know, basically the madness of the multiverses, and so I wanted to see a 3D version of it. So there was not one in my city, so the nearest city, I couldn't get a train early enough to get me there on time for the performance, or the other one was really late. And so I thought, what's the next city? And then it was like Bristol, and I'm like thinking, well, I don't really want to go to Bristol because it's a bit boring in comparison to London. And so I looked, and I got a disability rail card now, and I looked, and it was less than 40 quid to get to London. So I thought, oh, I'll go to London. And I had a video date with the heterosexual guy for Facebook dating who I thought I got on really well with and liked. And so I asked him while I was there, do you want to meet up? And he did actually travel like a couple of hours, I think it was, to see me. And I didn't sleep, bless him. He was like working really late and then traveled all the way to see me. But sadly it didn't work out because he wasn't honest with me about stuff. So but yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, it feels like there's not much point in dating heterosexual guys, but that's who's around me, unfortunately. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. It's like, I gave up dating heterosexual guys for a very long time in general, and then I started Facebook dating last year. Was it last year or the year before? I've been on Facebook dating off and on for quite some time. And like I went off it for quite a few months because I was like dating a guy online, and so I wasn't on there. I gave that up then, and then because like the two guys last year, asexual but both in different countries, both kind of broke my heart. Then I had to take some time out for me to just like focus on my career and just kind of heal from that. So I was off Facebook dating, or the dating scene, for about 5.5 months, nearly 6, but definitely 5.5. And then I just went back on Facebook dating because I thought, I want some real life dates, and I want to like experience real life guys in person. And kind of like as an asexual, I think you do still crave touch, and you do like, even if you get touching just through dating, sometimes it can feel good sometimes, but like when they've just got sex on their mind and they don't want a real relationship or something that lasts, then it just feels again like quite harsh, quite brutal. And it's just a shame. I kind of feel disappointed. I feel disappointed that there aren't any guys that just can see what's beyond sex, can see what's beyond genitalia, and actually have there's so much more to love than genitalia. You've got like soul connection, mind connection, spirit connection, heart connection, emotional connection. All these connections are so much more important than sexual connection. Obviously I'm a sex repulsed asexual, that's viewpoint I'm coming from, but it's just like, with asexuals, I don't have the sexual connection attraction thing going on to worry about. With heterosexuals, I don't think I could ever totally trust that a heterosexual guy wouldn't go around having sex with other women, however much he says, I don't want sex either, because a lot of them just lie. And I'm like, what is the point in you lying? You're just wasting my time. You're wasting your time, But sometimes it's like they want you as a side thing, like, oh, I'll go and have sex with other women and I'll be in a relationship with you as well. So I'll get all my emotional connection, all my emotional attachment, all my understanding and stimulation from the asexual person. Then I'll get my sex and go and have the actual main relationship with another person with sex involved, And it just feels like they're using you. And it's just horrible. It's like, what's even the point? But you know, it's kind of like they're very egotistical, some of them. They're just doing it for their own pleasure and desire, you know, to make themselves feel good because they're lonely, because they're bored, and because they may not be able to get the connection they get with us as asexual people with another heterosexual, which is quite weird to say, but it's probably true, you know. That's why some people who are heterosexual do actually like being in a relationship or dating scenario or an attachment to an asexual person, but they don't want to be in a real proper relationship that's monogamous because they want the best of both worlds. They want the asexual person who's going to kind of like be there, a really good friend, who's going to be emotionally connected, who's going to understand them, be kind and caring, and then they kind of want to have their main relationship where all the sex and the normal type of stuff goes off, you know. And so I don't think it's right for heterosexuals to use asexuals that way. It's very brutal, very dishonest, I think. And, you know, it's like, if you can't treat us right, then don't be with us, you know. Save us the heartache, bother and pain, because we deserve true love without sex just as much as they deserve to have the relationship they want, which includes sex. And if I'm a sex repulsed asexual, I can't give them sex, they want sex, and please go and look elsewhere. There's no point in wasting my time and wasting, you know, their time. And you know, I just find that it's just such a harsh reality, you know. But there has to be some people in the world that are heterosexual that don't actually mind not having sex, or are okay not having it because they'd rather have a really good, healthy relationship in all the other multiple ways. And you know, it really annoys me when traditional dating coaches, I'm an asexual dating and relationships coach, but when traditional dating coaches say, oh, if you're not having sex, your relationship's dead in the water, you know, if you're not having sex, something's deeply wrong with your relationship. It's not. It's like it's only wrong if like, you know, you feel that sex is associated with love, because if you feel sex is associated with love and you're not getting enough sex, you feel like you're not being loved. But if you separate love and sex and you're feeling loved in every other way, because and you don't need the sex to understand you're loved, then you know, you wouldn't feel so like unloved. Because it's really bad that society conditions people to believe that love is sex, and that if you're not getting lots of sex, that person doesn't love you, or if you're not getting any sex, that person stopped loving you. It's just wrong, and really kind of like you know, it's a misconception. And as we know, you know, people can have aesthetic attraction, romantic attraction as different things to sexual attraction. We can have emotional connection, we can have intelligent connection, we can have all these different types of connections, attractions going on, which are completely different to sex. It's not silly, because even in a heterosexual relationship, how much time do you actually spend being sexual? What, maybe 5 hours? Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just like, oh, I'm just not into sex personally for me. But I have had sex in the past, but I just fed up with all that now. You know, and I just don't like the clinicality of the dating. That, oh, they're saying it is silly to me because even in a heterosexual relationship, sex only takes up a few hours out of the week at most. So why is it so important? Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't, and a good point as well, Nicole, which I think I've made before on this channel, is that, you know, there's times when heterosexuals aren't having sex. There's days and there's hours and there's, you know, quite a proportion of time they're not having sex. And during that time, if they're still in a relationship, they can still love their person without having sex. So therefore, logically, heterosexuals should know that it's possible to have love without sex, because they're not at it 24/7, 365 days a year. The average heterosexual guy, as far as I know, has it 3 times a week. That means if there's 7 days a week, 3 out of 7 leaves 4 days. Actually, there's more days that they're loving their person without having sex than having sex and loving them, if you know what I mean. So I don't know why people get it into their heads that, you know, if you know, you know that if you love is sex and sex is love, because it's really not. You know, and clearly you can love without sex if you're spending days of your life with that person that you don't have sex. You don't stop loving them just because you're not having sex. you know. But basically it's like with, if you're a sex repulsed asexual, it's like having those times without sex and still loving the person. It's like having just those times if you're a sex repulsed asexual that doesn't have sex. It's like those times that heterosexuals are with the partner, with the one they love, but they're not having sex, but they still love them. That's how asexual would like the relationship to be all the time, and how they experience love without sex, you know. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to love you and leave you for now, because I've been streaming for over an hour and my food's been cooked in the oven for quite some time, and it's nearly 1 a.m. But I've really loved all our conversations tonight. If there's anything else I've missed, let me know. If you want to post some more comments when I've gone off streaming in the comments section, you can. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I know there's still quite a few of you watching. 100% Beef, thank you so much. Mr. Coconuts, thank you so much. And of course, Nicole, we've had such a great conversation. It's been lovely to see you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Thank you for the thumbs up that already happened. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. The bell icon is so important because it notifies you of every time I go live. I've actually been live earlier as well. So I'm trying to upload as much as I can to help you in your asexual life, dating and relationships. And Nicole, oh gosh, it's so late for you. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Nicole, for all the great conversation. I really appreciated you being here, especially because it's nice to have someone to relate to. I don't usually have any people to relate to myself, so that's amazing. And lots of love to everyone who's watching. Thank you for being here. Love you lots. Always stay ace, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Subscribe, hit that bell icon. See you soon. Lots of love. Bye. Bye bye.